Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Exit Point Podcast, a brand new show where we talk about all things entry point, whether it be from the community or from random updates that Sish happens to give us. Today I have Unofficial from Unofficial Guide to Entry Point. What's up?
What's up?
Our first topic is going to be the brand new update that Sish released pretty recently, actually, which includes new hairs, keycard doors, and new outfits. What are your thoughts on that right now?
It's kind of pointless. I mean, it's not bad. I
It's
do think the new artwork looks pretty good, but it's not something that we needed.
Yeah, it's more of a
Not
cosmetic
in the league.
update, with the exception of the keycard doors, which would actually make a major change on like speedruns. With the exception of
Yeah,
that, it's just cosmetic.
yeah. I feel like Sis should just be working on the SCRS because that's what people actually want to see. Because as you know, every mission is the SCRS. At least if you watch Unofficial Guide to Entry Point, it's always the SCRS.
I'm telling you, man. Every time you guess the SCRS, you're one step closer to almost getting it right.
It's eventually gonna be the SCRS.
Yeah, unless like Tish just tries to troll us all by saying, you know what, we're not gonna have that mission anymore. We're gonna skip it
He
anyway.
renamed it.
Anyway, I think the new hairs can be kind of confusing during like legend or elite difficulties because if you the brand new hairs look completely different, like you could accidentally mistake a civilian or something for a teammate. I don't know why that could be happening, but it happened to me once and I didn't really like it.
It's kind of annoying. You have to memorize what the people you're playing with look like.
Exactly.
You could get in trouble, especially
Especially
in a
when you
speed
can't see their
run.
names. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about the new mission predictions. What do you predict the next mission is going to be
SURS,
unofficial?
SURS. It's the SURS.
He's already calling it. Um, I think the next mission should be the SCRS. I think it's the next one in chronological order, right?
No, that's the
It's the
scientist.
scientist. Okay, then maybe it might be the scientist because I'm thinking he's done enough with non chronological order missions. I think he might actually start doing chronological order because when you get to the
He
point where
might
it's towards the
do
end
after.
game, I think that major plot points are going to be revealed eventually.
We really got some major plot points in Lake House, though. Like if you watch GHFJ's theory, I don't want to get too deep into it, but that was pretty solid right there. I think that the Lake House was actually like one of the big plot points already.
So you might be right.
Why the protagonist switched sides. There's really not a whole lot left to the story.
I think the only thing that's left to the story is to figure out what exactly we're going to end up doing and what's going to lead to Black Dusk and what's going to happen there.
And also Ash's cutscene. It's
But
like it
dude,
hasn't
the
been
Ashes
released yet. It
cutscene, I
has
want
to
to
be
see what
a
that
major
turns out to
plot
be.
point.
I'm
I
excited.
wonder why Fish hasn't released it.
Well, if you count all the cutscenes and everything, there's actually 10 cutscenes and 9 missions. So he's going to have to either release 2 cutscenes in a row or release a cutscene last. He might do that actually. Wait, because it's the last. Never mind.
No, he's
Anyway,
gonna have to do both. He's gonna have to do both.
it's going to have to
We
be
know
both. What?
Epilogue
Yeah.
is the last one, but there was one time where he released two missions in a row with no cutscene in between.
He
At some
did?
point, he's going to need two consecutive cutscenes.
When was that? Was that deposit and withdrawal? Or, wait, no.
I think
Deposit
it
and
was
financier?
financier and withdrawal.
Financier and withdrawal. There was no cutscene in between? Yeah, because then right after withdrawal, he released
Yeah,
the other one. Yeah, yeah, I remember now. So I really hope that he ends up really think scientist first because I really think going in chronological order would help our minds just a little bit more to know what's going on. But knowing Sish, he might not actually do that at all.
I honestly want the SURS because I've been calling it for so long. It's like,
You got to be right eventually. Anyway, on to the next topic we have here. It's community dramas. What we wanted to
oh
talk
boy,
about
my
today,
favorite thing in the community.
dude. Everyone loves dramas. It's like the most interesting thing. Everyone loves them when they happen as
All right.
well. Anyway, let's start with the body bag leaks.
Oof.
That was a big topic that was happening at the time, and I'm sure the unofficial had a very very tragic first-hand experience as to what happened right after the first leak video was released.
Yep. Like he leaked. Like I was blamed for it. Then he leaked the codes for my 2S. Like I was being targeted. I felt like I was the main guy being targeted by this leaking. Like it was personal against me.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. A lot of people started jumping to conclusions about what happened during the event, and it wasn't the most fun event until we started investigating and actually finding out who it was.
Now, there were some people who were like very confident that it was me. I'm not gonna say their names here because I want to start more drama. It was pretty annoying.
Yeah, that
Like,
can happen
Unofficial,
sometimes.
why'd you leak the codes? I was like, dude, I didn't even do it. Where's your proof?
A lot of people tend to do that when they're like in situations like these.
Yeah. I guess I was the obvious candidate since I got banned from Phoenix
The day of, wasn't it? Or the day before?
same day actually.
The day of? Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I don't
Um,
think Bodybag was clever enough to like do it on purpose, release it to
I think it was just a coincidence. It was a really big
yeah, it was
coincidence. Yeah.
definitely one of the obvious suspects. The other one being probably Wyqkrn, because he already did it before. There were people from the beginning being like, "Oh, it's Wyqkrn again."
This is exactly why I wanted to investigate in what actually happened in the first place. You know?
Yeah,
I wanted to make sure I wasn't jumping to conclusions, so I threw the investigation into action. I invited a bunch of people to a group chat, and it just went from there. I might link
quite a while
the
ago.
document to what exactly happens in the description and unofficials. We did a great job, I think, at describing exactly what happened on those documents.
Yeah, we really exposed the crap out of Bodybag. He was not really the best at doing his job, since it was kind of obvious. I had some Death Note flashbacks right there because he was actually part of the Jack Miles
He
investigation.
was. It was definitely an interesting
The
experience to
actual
figure
Jack
out it was
Miles,
him.
like, trying to track our progress and stuff.
His
Like also some of
ideals.
the
Oh,
stuff that
don't you go.
Bodybag said was it didn't it wasn't necessarily suspicious at first, but in hindsight, knowing that he was Jack Miles, it makes a lot of sense why he acted the way that he did. There were a lot of subtle clues in the way that he spoke.
Yeah, especially because he was always online whenever we found Jack Miles over the user phone, which made absolutely no sense. How could we randomly find someone who happened to be from the same community over Yggdrasil's user phone, which happens to be in like over 4 million discords? It makes no sense
He
unless
must have
he
been
was
in the
on and
server.
knew it.
Yeah,
That's why the entire investigation happened. It started with that because he tried to make it seem like it wasn't him. A little bit too hard.
yeah.
Anyway, moving on, we're going to start talking about the community questions that you guys submitted in the form that I posted in EEPC.
Oh
Let's start
boy.
with the first question. Wyqkrn asks, "Will you let me participate?" What do you
Yeah,
say, Unofficial?
yeah. I'm okay with it. Like Wyqkrn's a fellow YouTuber.
We'd like to see his opinion on certain events, especially what dramas he's been in the past as well.
Well, you can't really exclude him from the podcast for that reason because if you did, you would also have to kick me out of the podcast because
No, I'm
I've had
saying
like
I want him
opinions
in because I want his opinions on the events that happened.
his opinions. Yeah, I'm especially concerned about the leaking incident, like
Yeah,
what he has to say about it.
that would be kind of interesting to hear exactly what he said. He posted a document on it earlier about what exactly happened from his perspective.
Really?
He did, yeah.
Oh, I probably have to read it because I haven't read it.
It was like a page long or something. It wasn't. Well, it kind of made sense whenever you looked at it from his perspective. On to the
Right.
next question. Epic asks, on the wiki there was a theory that which was well written. First of all, grammar 100. On the wiki there was a theory that which was well written, explaining that the first four missions from the house were from Halcyon, and the final four missions were from Phoenix. The theory also went to the idea that Phoenix missions are remakes of the Halcyon missions. This is this theory was proven with the deposit and withdrawal. Do you think this theory is a good possibility?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. It was like the deposit and withdrawal are obviously meant to be opposites of each other since their names are antonyms.
Yeah. I feel like that's
Just
not
trying to
really a
make
big
the
thing for any
story.
of the other missions though. Like for example, the SCRS. What is that exactly? Oh, wait, no, that could work with
I
Steel
don't know.
Cove from Black Side. That could be Steel Cove.
No, it's not Steel Cove, but
Might be. We never know. Other than the
it
deposit
was
and withdrawal,
originally
I
called
don't think
Black
it's a.
Cove.
What?
Called Black Cove. Then he changed the name to Steel Cove, but he didn't realize it. That he didn't realize it was the first two letters of SCRS. So it was just a complete accident, and I was like, "Oh, it's the SCRS because that's what unofficial guide to entry point does.
It's always the SCRS.
It's always the SCRS,
Anyway,
except when I say it's the scientist, in which case it's actually the lake house."
you could be right, yeah. I personally don't think that it's going to be like that because I want what I really wanted, as I showed in the one piece of music that I released. I really want there to be like an ending where you can decide between sticking with Phoenix or sticking with Halcyon. I think that would be a really interesting theory to
Not
go through.
possible.
Like if you could like decide between like I don't know. I don't know.
I
I'm
don't know
not a
how
good
to
game
explain
developer.
that.
I'm just thinking ideas here. I think it'd be really cool if that could be a thing.
It would be cool, but I don't. I just it'd be very different from the rest of the game so far because we don't actually have any choices.
We
The
don't, you're
storyline
right.
in canon's the same regardless of how we play.
So it would definitely be very cool if we could have a decision in the last one. Sish, if you're watching this,
Maybe like
please consider
epilogue,
that.
like press with Halcyon, press two to side with Phoenix, something like that. Like it could like split up into
That
like
could
the
be really
second half
cool.
of the cutscene is different depending on our choice or something like that.
If that were actually the case, then that theory would be kind of be proven wrong because there would be one mission where you can choose between either.
Oh, you're saying a mission or cutscene?
I was thinking, ooh, that's actually really interesting. If you could do a mission or a cutscene, like shooting like Sparrow or Rose. Quick
Yeah.
question: Sparrow or Rose, which would you shoot?
Uh, I would shoot Rose.
Really? I don't think many people would agree with that on that one.
Why? Sparrow's best girl. Like, I know I had a crush on Rose at some point, but
Oh
I'm
yeah, that was
over
the
it.
thing.
Like
You said that once in a
Sparrow's
video,
hotter.
didn't you?
Yeah, yeah. Well, to be fair, Cosmic forced me to do that. He was like, "Say you like Rose or else." I was like, "Okay, then I
That's
guess I like
funny.
Rose now."
Anyway, the next question that deals with Rose is UMP45. I don't know who that is, but it's someone. Uh, do you think that Rose is a double agent with us?
Not anymore, really.
Oh, not anymore. What do you mean?
I made a theory about it. It was well, I didn't make it. It was Spanish Inquisition that made it. It was a good theory, but it was debunked with Lake House and Dedication.
Makes sense.
Does it look like Rose's double agent? I guess she could be, but I just don't see the evidence there anymore. It's like she could be, she could not be.
I think that with my
Right.
theory, if my theory were correct, then Rose
She would
wouldn't be a
not be.
double agent because it doesn't make much sense for her to be a double agent in the matter, unless she was the one that actually gave the intel to Phoenix in the first place instead of the freelancer, which would make a really interesting approach to it.
It's definitely possible. I haven't ruled it out, but I just don't think the case for it is as strong as it was
I have to agree with
before
you on
Lake
that.
House released.
Yeah. On to the next question. Cola Crack asks, why would our operative steal the servers from the lake house if we knew our name was going to show up?
There's two answers to that question. The first is that if he did know, then he wouldn't have any choice, right? Because then, like,
That's a fair
imagine he
point.
is double agent. I'll talk about your theory later, but imagine he is the double agent, right? He's going into the mission. He knows his name's gonna show up. Thing is, though, if he doesn't steal the servers, then mission coordinator is gonna be like, "Hey, why aren't you stealing the servers?"
That makes
Like, they're
absolute
gonna get
sense, yeah.
suspicious of him. But then there's GHFJ's theory, which is he didn't know because he or she, because they didn't know they were a double agent because they weren't actually a double agent.
Yeah. That brings in with my theory, which we're not going to talk about here because unofficial has something special planned. On to the next question.
Oh, yeah.
1v02p underscore 6. That was my first try of getting it properly. Why the name Exit Point? I didn't come up
The
with the name,
simulator.
unofficial did. Why the name Exit Point,
It's like a
unofficial?
Epic M's name. He made it. I just copied it
Oh,
because it was
really?
funny.
Oh, yeah, he did. He
Yeah.
said that before. Yeah, I thought that's kind of funny.
I blame it on DHFJ because he's the owner, so
Excuse
he's
me?
technically the one who plagiarized it.
Oh, that's not fair. Alright, whatever. We'll say it's called Exit Point because we stole Epic's idea. Grandfire 1 asks, what is your favorite mission? Personally, I like the financier mission because I've been a fan of the Hitman 2 series or Hitman series in general, and I really like their games, and it sounds really interesting to have multiple ways to kill someone. Well, it's not necessarily the exact same thing. The idea that you have to assassinate someone with bodyguards and like their own private house, it sounds pretty interesting. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, well, Financier is actually also my separate reason, my favorite mission, but for very different reasons.
Why?
It's because of XP. It doesn't take as long as other missions. It's not that bad if you're legit enough at it. I just use it to grind XP.
Oh, you use it to grind XP. That's really interesting.
I also like Withdrawal because it's also good for XP. It's also very easy, but it does get kind of boring towards the end, so it's not quite as good as Financier.
I see. Our next question is from Anonymous and asks, why did Sish remove the badges for finding codes? And I think personally that Sish removed the badges because he didn't want people. Well, I don't know. There's a few reasons for why I think it could be a thing. The first one is to prevent leaks. He didn't want people to be really like into finding the codes, so that people would actually like go find leaks or leak them themselves just to find that badge. The second reason would be, make the codes like less known in the first place.
Yeah. It's not like psychological because a badge is something that you should strive to get. So if you see
Yeah,
a badge for getting the codes, you're gonna want to get the codes. But
exactly.
without the badges, you will really only want to get the codes if you want to know more about the story, which is fewer people will know about that or care about that.
I think it's also just to prevent leaks. Like, there's a chance that people could just go to
Yeah.
any means to find that code. Next question is from Jason King. Following Ren's death, what organizational changes do you expect in Halcyon? Who takes Ren's place, and what does it mean for the organization?
I think Retribution is gonna be where we find out. It's gonna be Halcyon doing something against Phoenix. That has always been my prediction about Retribution.
It could definitely be.
It's gonna be
I have
Halcyon's
absolutely no
perspective.
idea.
Like it's gonna be the revenge for Jackdaw killing Ren.
I see.
Find out.
It could be, yeah. I honestly have no idea. Organizational
Oh,
changes. I think either
like the
Rose is
same,
gonna take
honestly.
Ren's place, or like
She was already promoted.
she was already
Like
promoted. You're
in
right. So maybe no one's gonna take Ren's place because Ren didn't really have a role in the later Halcyon missions.
I think Rose is gonna be pissed.
You're probably right.
Even if she is the double agent, she's gonna be pissed.
The next question was from Bodybag himself, asking, "Are you really dating host for Sparrow?" And
Answer is yes,
the answer to that
because the
question is
interview
no.
host
Let's move on to the next
host.
question. Mr. Roblox Indonesia asks, "What's your next career after entry point is 100% complete?" I mean, for me personally, I'm just gonna go ahead and just say that after entry point's complete, I'm probably still gonna work on music, do commissions, etc. That's me basically. What about you, Unofficial? I never thought about it actually. What about you? What are your thoughts on what's gonna happen after entry point's complete?
I haven't thought about it too much since updates take quite a while. My life would probably just go on like normal.
Hmm.
Keep doing YouTube. I would probably not do more entry point. If Sis Shadow makes another game, I might make a YouTube channel on it.
Entire
I
new
can't really
channel, or
know.
just new videos, or just an entirely new channel?
Yeah, it might be the same channel. If it's the Shadows game, I'll do the same channel. If not, I'll make a different channel.
I see. 1V02P_6 again asks, Unofficial, how do you feel about being hated by parts of the community? Do you think it's deserved or not, and can you handle it?
That's kind of a complicated question. I do indeed get a lot of hate from the community. A lot of it really is deserved, to be honest, because of all the trolling that I did, like the Tempest 2007 stuff. I do think I get a little bit too much hate, some hate, but at the same time, it's like I'm not a code leaker, I'm not a doxer. See me as being on the same level as like Camera Chan,
I
or like
see.
people are saying that there's blame on both sides when I had my drama with Camera Chan.
I don't
Be
know.
fair, I do get I've started a lot of drama. A lot of it really is my fault. I just think it's been exaggerated. As for whether I can handle it, guess it kind of sucks being hated, but there's not much I can do about it. So I just have to live with it and try to avoid more drama. Though I don't do the best job at that.
We'll see what happens. I hope you don't get involved in any more dramas, or at least on the
No
wrong side.
promises. No promises.
No promises. And finally, Neutron asks, Sparrow, where do you see EEPC in 3 years? And to give an honest answer, it depends. Similar to what the answer was from an official before about our career after entry points complete. Entry points definitely going to be done by the end of 2020. I'm going to say springtime. It's going to be about done by 2020 spring. So in 3 years from now, I don't think EEPC is gonna live unless like there's something else that Sish makes, like a sequel or a prequel or something that makes the community live on. If there's something like that, then maybe. Or else, EEPC might just go inactive because nothing happens in there. Or I
That's
could
gonna be
just
in such
change
a
its
time.
use entirely. I could just change how it like works entirely and just make it on another game or something. People would hate that.
It's like the original like EP fanboys like hating people doing other games than Entry Point, or turning Entry Point servers into other games.
Pretty much. We'll
But
see.
if it's a Shadows game, I feel like that could work if Sish makes another game.
I really hope he does because this story is really intriguing,
I mean,
and we'd miss it if it were lost. Anyway, that's about all the time we have for today. Uh,
bruh.
I didn't come up with with an outro. Unofficial, say bye.
I
Okay, bye.